A single envelope just destroyed Britain's government. At 8:17 this morning, a sealed message marked Prime Minister's Eyes Only was delivered to Keir Starmer's desk. Within 2 minutes of opening it, he ordered every senior minister out of the room. He locked the door, and according to witnesses inside number 10, his face went completely white. What was inside that envelope is now triggering the biggest political crisis Britain has seen in decades. And if you care about what happens next in UK politics, if you want to understand how a single piece of paper can bring down an entire government, you need to hear this story from start to finish. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to show you is still unfolding in real time, and you'll want to see how this ends. Here's what we know. The envelope didn't come from the UK government. It came through a foreign intelligence channel, unusual but not unheard of for classified materials. But this wasn't a routine security briefing. According to 3 separate sources inside Downing Street, the message contained evidence of something far worse: internal betrayal at the highest levels of government. Let me paint the scene for you. Starmer sits at his desk, alone now after clearing the room. He opens the envelope, starts reading the first page, and then his hands just stop moving. He doesn't turn the page. He doesn't reach for his phone. One senior aide later described the silence as the longest 30 seconds of my entire political career. Then Starmer stands up, walks to the door, orders everyone out of the corridor, and doesn't speak to anyone for nearly an hour. That's not standard protocol. That's panic. That's a man who just realised his entire political future might be over. By 10 a.m, Labour headquarters shifted from normal business to full-blown crisis mode. Emergency meetings were called across Westminster. No agenda, no briefing notes. Just one subject line: attendance mandatory. MPs started calling each other frantically, trying to figure out what triggered the meltdown. Nobody had answers, but everybody could feel it. Something catastrophic had just entered the building. Then the leak started. First leak, 1 p.m. An anonymous insider posts a cryptic message on social media. Just one line. It's not about policy. It's about betrayal from within. That single sentence sent every political journalist in Britain into overdrive. Second leak, 1:47 p.m. A parliamentary aide contacts a major news outlet with a bombshell claim. The message contains proof of unauthorised contact between senior Labour officials and a private lobbying group, not disclosed to Parliament, not approved by party leadership, operating completely in the shadows. By 2 p.m, the headlines were brutal. Labour faces internal sabotage allegations. Secret deal tied to Starmer's inner circle. Crisis meeting at number 10 as leaks explode. And here's what made this genuinely dangerous. The leaks weren't coming from the Conservative opposition. They were coming from inside Labour itself. Someone was actively feeding classified documents directly to the press. Text messages, internal memos, names, dates. Each new leak painted a darker picture than the last. At the centre of it all, a secret agreement allegedly signed months before Starmer became Prime Minister. An agreement involving undisclosed campaign funding, policy influence and commitments made behind closed doors. If this is true, it doesn't just end Starmer's leadership. It could collapse the entire Labour government. Parliament erupted. Backbench Labour MPs openly demanded answers. Some threatened to resign unless Starmer came clean. Even cabinet members, once fiercely loyal, started distancing themselves. Everyone was terrified of being caught in the blast radius. Then came the smoking gun. Late afternoon, a political journalist published verified communication between a top Labour strategist and a foreign consultant. The message, dated 3 weeks ago, explicitly referenced the exact funding arrangement mentioned in the leaked memo. Within seconds, social media detonated. Hashtags like #LabourLeak and #StarmerCrisis trended worldwide within minutes. Inside number 10, the scene was described as complete chaos. Starmer was reportedly furious, pacing his office, shouting into his phone, "Find the leak before they destroy everything we've built." Aides ran between offices, trying to coordinate damage control while figuring out who was betraying them. The opposition pounced. Richard Tice demanded a full independent investigation. Conservative MPs mocked Starmer's silence. This is the man who promised transparency. Now he hides behind closed doors. The Liberal Democrats called for an emergency debate. From every angle, the pressure mounted. By evening, paranoia consumed Downing Street. Staff emails were being audited. Phones were being examined. One senior aide admitted, "No one knows who to trust anymore. Everyone's looking over their shoulder." The party that branded itself as stable and united was now tearing itself apart in real time. But the real bombshell came just after 10 p.m. An unmarked black car pulled up outside number 10. Out stepped a senior intelligence official, someone Starmer had worked with during his time as Director of Public Prosecutions. They met privately for nearly an hour. No aides, no phones, completely off the books. When the official left, a security guard overheard 6 chilling words. "You were never meant to see that." That's when everything made sense. The message wasn't meant for Starmer, it was meant about him. This wasn't a warning, it was a setup. Sources now reveal the message originated from within the British security establishment. A classified intelligence report documenting communications between unnamed Labour officials and external political donors. But buried in those pages was something far more dangerous. Coded exchanges implicating one of Starmer's senior advisors in a covert operation to manipulate party funding channels before the last election. Someone in Starmer's inner circle had been playing both sides, and the document on his desk was proof. The timing was surgical, with public trust already slipping and opposition sharks circling. This revelation hit Labour like a precision strike. Starmer's team tried to contain it, insisting the document lacked verification. That excuse collapsed just before midnight when a former intelligence aide confirmed the report's authenticity. Every major British outlet ran the same headline. Classified report links Labour officials to secret funding network. Starmer's approval ratings nosedived overnight. Calls for his resignation echoed across Parliament. Reform UK, the Conservatives, even the Liberal Democrats, all demanded a public inquiry. The man once seen as competent and steady was now painted as a Prime Minister who'd lost control. Then came the detonation. Just after dawn, a whistleblower claiming to be the original source contacted journalists with a statement. The Prime Minister knew more than he admits. This wasn't an accident. This was a cover-up. Those words exploded like a political grenade. Within hours, protesters gathered outside Parliament. Opposition leaders called for an emergency vote of confidence. Inside Labour headquarters, panic turned into rebellion. Several members of Parliament publicly withdrew support. A cabinet minister, one of Starmer's earliest allies, resigned live on a television. "I can no longer defend what's indefensible." That evening, Starmer addressed the nation. His voice was controlled but tense. "There are forces working to destabilise this government from within. I will not allow them to win." But to millions watching, it sounded less like leadership and more like desperation. Behind the cameras, his inner circle fractured. Some advisors urged him to step down for the good of the party. Others insisted he fight back, arguing the leaks were orchestrated, a political assassination disguised as scandal, and then the final twist. According to one intelligence source, the message delivered to Starmer's desk was only the first of 3. 2 more messages are still out there, waiting. So what happens next? Westminster is holding its breath. Starmer's leadership hangs by a thread. Labour is in open revolt. The British public demands answers. One wrong move, one more leak, and the entire government could crumble overnight. And that final line in the original message, the one that froze Starmer in silence, it read simply, "We warned you. The deal is over. Whatever that deal was, and whoever sent it, one thing is now certain. Keir Starmer stands on the edge of political extinction. And the forces that put him there aren't finished yet." So here's my question for you. Do you think Starmer survives this crisis? Or is this the beginning of the end for Labour? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over. And if you want to see what happens when those next 2 messages drop, hit that subscribe button. Part 2 is coming, and you won't want to miss it.